Good morning. We're going to call the Ramsey County Board of Commissioners October 18th meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Carter.
Here.
Fretham.
Here.
McDonough.
Here.
McGuire.
Here.
Ortega.
Aye.
Reinhardt.
Here.
And Modis Castillo.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now I'm going to turn to Commissioner Reinhardt for our land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will, some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life, and some have lived on this land since time immemorial. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We are standing on the ancestral lands of the Dakota people. We want to acknowledge the Ojibwe, the Ho-Chunk, and the other nations of people who also called this place home. We pay respects to their elders, past and present. Please take a moment to consider the treaties made by the tribal nations that entitle non-Native people to live and work on the traditional Native lands. Consider the many legacies of violence, displacement, migration, and settlement that bring us together here today. And please join us in uncovering such truths at any and all public events.
Thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt. We have the agenda of October 18th presented for approval. Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye.
Fretham.
Aye.
McDonough. McGuire.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
And Modis Castillo.
Aye. We have the minutes from October 11th, 2022 presented for approval.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye.
Fretham.
Aye.
McDonough.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
And Modis Castillo.
Aye. I'm going to turn to Commissioner Reinhardt for our administrative items.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move item 3, the mutual aid agreement with Twin Cities Public Health and Environmental Health entities in metropolitan Minnesota. Item number 4, expenditure of grant proof of concept program for the Community Innovation for Racial and Health Equity Award.
I'll pull item 5.
And item number 5 it is pulled.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on item 3 and 4. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye.
Fretham.
Aye.
McDonough.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
And Modis Castillo.
Aye.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would move the summary of conclusions from the performance evaluation of the county manager.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. And I'll go to discussion. It's always uncomfortable, perhaps, or I would assume it'd be uncomfortable for the county manager to have your evaluation public and open, but I do think it is time for us to just have a conversation, and I think it's really helpful for all of our employees to hear your evaluation, because I think you set the tone for leadership at the county, and the board met last week in a closed session and had a robust conversation about your performance over the last really year and a half. This is a delayed evaluation. We had chosen to delay, and for the viewing public, we chose to delay because we wanted to get through union contracts and to make sure those were all complete, which they have, which is a huge credit to your success that we have all of our contracts in place for the next 2 years, and we appreciate that. The board's robust discussion, I just want to highlight and lift up a few comments so that you can hear. Overwhelmingly, the board is very happy with your performance and the work that you've done to lead this county, and appreciative of the work through the pandemic and civil unrest, and then bringing employees back to work. It's no easy task in an organization this large. It really takes someone with strong courage and vision and patience and compassion in order to deliver the services in which we do. And I just want to highlight a few of the comments that commissioners made so you can hear the praise, because it is truly worthy of your efforts. Ryan has seamlessly led the highest quality team of professionals who have developed, deployed, and delivered services to our community in a way that achieves our strategic priorities while breaking down barriers created by systematic racism. It is demonstrated in the talent he has attracted and retained, as well as by successfully achieving our union contracts without strike or need for litigation. His leadership under multiple crises has demonstrated his strength of endurance and character. And I think that really lifts up the way that we see you, the work that you've done for us as a county board. And we look forward to you continuing that into the future. We had some direct feedback with you on areas to grow and continue to grow our county. I think they are demonstrative of this board and the position that we've set to make sure that we are continuing to develop and recruit talent, that we're also looking at every level of our organization, from entry-level staff and how we lift them up and provide training opportunities and help grow our own organization to be customer-focused and really residents first. So with that, I want to open if anyone has any additional comments they'd like to make. All right.
With
Commissioner
great
Carter.
thanks, I'll reiterate that this was the opinion and summary that the chair has given of all of the commissioners, and just a very, very big thanks. Our greatest asset is our people, and you, as our people leader, have made a team that works well here in Ramsey County. You've grown a team that works well. The team members support each other and the work such as the commissioners have envisioned, along with our community. So with great thanks. Thanks very much.
Just to add my thanks, I mean, it was a great session that we had in doing your performance review. It's always a joy to do a review of someone who is excelling at their work so well, and then to find ways that we can all grow together. So just really appreciate your work. I've been saying and have said many times, we're a county of excellence, not because we are doing everything perfectly, but because we are striving to do everything in the best way possible. That we're always looking for self-improvement, and we always know that we can keep getting better, and that's why I think we're the best county in the country. So thank you so much for leading us in that direction.
Great. I will turn it to you, County Manager.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I'm honored. I'm honored for the comments, and I deeply appreciate them. And I hope for any employees who have an opportunity to see our board meeting or read the comments after, that they see themselves in those comments as well. Some days you're in the front, and some days you stand behind, but we all stand together at the end of the day, and that includes all of you as well. And you answer the bell every time we call at any hour of any day when we have something we need to solve. And so the gratitude extends both directions. I would point out in the spot of a marker of our success going forward, and even with outgoing commissioners who look back and say, did the work we were doing now, where did it build to and where did it go? Our workshop yesterday and our workshop this afternoon continues to remind me that when the pandemic hit, we were an organization that served people in separate buildings, in separate spots across this county, and said, go to this place and this place and this place and this place, and good luck to you. And it's what we knew, it's who we were, it's pretty consistent with what many counties are, and it's just, we can be better, we can be more than that going forward. And the foundation and the building blocks have been laid, and folks are excited to talk about the service center piece this afternoon again, and really bringing residents first to life. But I just continue to see that that's where our opportunity for growth lies, and I want to acknowledge that that is a spot where we need to continue to strive every day. We are not there, and we need to do more, and that starts with me and in working in close and support with all of you. And so I pledge to do that and continue to work with everyone across this great community. It's an honor of a lifetime to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, County Manager O'Connor. With that, we'll move to a roll call, please.
Reinhardt.
Aye.
Carter.
Aye.
Brugum.
Aye.
McDonough.
Aye.
McGuire.
Aye.
Ortega.
Aye.
And Modis Castillo.
Aye. All right, we are going to move on now to County Connections. County Manager O'Connor.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Let's talk about some other folks. Just as an update, because a couple of you have asked already, and if you haven't, you'll continue to hear it. Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund, that well-known fund that we never think about but exists at the federal level and provides funding to counties in different amounts based on how the federal government is in that community, often in terms of land. Recently provided increased allocations as a part of some of its work that has come down through the economic responses to crises in our country. And so when we first saw it, we assumed that we probably were not a recipient, but it turns out every county was a recipient of $50,000 this year and $50,000 next year. Most of the state, that's actually where they look, or that's where they landed. If you looked at St. Louis County, they'd be the outlier at $1.8 million this year and next year. And the surprise they had looked a lot like the one Commissioner Ortega just gave. A couple of the large forested counties in northern Minnesota saw really large numbers, but otherwise it's 50 and 50 is about where it lands. But I just wanted to let you know we have now officially applied, submitted, and as of yesterday signed the documentation. So we will be receiving our LACTF funding for this year and next year, and that process has been done. And I know that NACO is paying attention to counties and saying, have you done this, have you done this? So I just wanted to bring it here and say we have applied, thanks to Finance for their help. You're going to have a lunch today with them, but I wanted to welcome the Vera Institute. I even have their branded folder here today. We have Court and Fabi here with us today. And I had an opportunity to spend a half hour with them this morning, and as I was running out of the room, I said I wished I had at least a half hour more, but I know we do have lunch today, and it's going to be an opportunity to hear about work Ramsey County has invested in to date around legal defense and how that, from our perspective, knits with our broader social services and supports work as well. It's also an opportunity for them to be here and be talking with some key partners here in Ramsey County and St. Paul, also in Hennepin and Minneapolis, as this remains an area of great need. And now we have some data after a few years you get to hear about today. And quite frankly, the need far outpaces the level of capacity that continues to exist. And so I'll leave the rest to them to share the specifics on later, but great, deep appreciation that they were able to come and join us. It was at least one of the two's first time in Minnesota, and we picked a chilly day to welcome them, but they haven't run off yet, so we're really glad they're here. And then finally, I just wanted to highlight that our racial and health equity administrators, Deputy County Manager Hadeen, Alitha Muhammad, one of our leaders in human resources, we had an opportunity to meet with the Minnesota Council on Churches last week in a follow-up conversation after a meeting that I had with them set up by Dr. Eric Jolly from the St. Paul Foundation. And they're doing a lot of work to build capacity around racial justice work and what is the role the Minnesota Council on Churches holds in this space as a faith community and also as community participants. I mean, there are millions of faith-practicing Minnesotans who value the idea of racial equity and equality. They are working on conversations around normalizing race in dialogue. They're having conversations about reparations and what does that mean and look like as a faith community. We had an opportunity to sit with them last week, and they were able to learn more about our policy and practice and funding and implementation. And so as we spent some time there, I just wanted to highlight a really unique opportunity to highlight our work, and thanks to our racial and health equity administrators, they're going to do some follow-up work specifically with the Council on Churches to understand opportunities to deeply engage other corners of the community and continue to make sure that we're not trying to do all of this challenging but important work alone. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go to outside board and committee reports, and I'm going to start with Commissioner Carter today.
Thank you very, very much. It has been an active week. I'd just like to share that we met together as an Association of Minnesota Counties Board on Friday and also on Monday with the District 10 counties to discuss District 10 issues and upcoming priorities for the legislative session. I'd like to give a big hand and thanks to Commissioner McDonough, who represented us very well in discussing our facilities adjustments and recent decisions that the county board has made to focus on our highest priorities, and including to close a golf course and, of course, our care center. Thank you very much, Jim, for your report. Others reported on a variety of things that are going on throughout our counties, including water resource protection issues, roads and bridges, homelessness and housing work, including a new facility for young people, residential facility that focuses on education and mental health, which Dakota County and Washington County have worked on and now open together, called Aspen House. It was a good update at District 10 and also at the board meeting. I know that Commissioner McDonough, also at the board meeting with me, can add to this. I'll share that there was a focus there on a couple of things that were interesting, including work that's going on in the education arena on bridging divides, sponsored by Commissioner McGuire and her leadership on the AMC board, and also some work that is going on regarding family facilities, family resource centers. A grant has been submitted to the Sauer Foundation, and the Association of Minnesota Counties will be leading in that area, advocating for family resource centers and building them together across the state. I also had the opportunity to participate yesterday with the African American Employee Resource Group. It was their first meeting since COVID in person at the Wellstone Center, and I was able to observe and participate in the work that they are doing to focus on priorities strategically, with gathering together and impacting Ramsey County's ability to lift up our work for a vibrant community where all are valued and thrive. So thank you to the organizers, including the sponsors, Karen and Kathy, our deputies, and all who are working together on the planning committee and lifting up the work of the African American Employee Resource Group. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Carter. Commissioner McDonough.
Yep, thanks, Madam Chair. Commissioner Carter did a nice job of capturing the board meeting District 10. I'll add a couple things. One, on the one part of the conversation at the board meeting for the board to really start helping weigh in on is AMC gets a lot of requests for amicus briefs. They're costly. I can remember when I was president back in '08, I was like, why are we doing this? This don't make sense, you know, and there were actually very few back then. We're getting more and more. The counties are tending to look at them more as support letters than what they really truly are meant to be as a document. You know, you have the tension of being a membership organization and want to be responsive and supportive of your members versus recognizing there's an overall need as a membership organization to represent the whole organization. So that conversation is going to continue. We kind of kicked it to the executive committee with Julie and our attorney to kind of find that sweet spot of being there when we're needed, truly needed, but also recognizing how can we help counties understand that we can't just be a part of every single lawsuit that comes past their doors. And it's not just counties. We're getting requests from other organizations and other attorneys to weigh in on that. It's becoming quite costly. At the District 10 meeting yesterday, Tony did a nice job sharing all the report outs from the various counties. The biggest thing that we needed to do yesterday was weigh in on all the policy committees that we all sit on. We have coverage on all of them. In September, you know, put out up to 5 priorities coming out of their policy committees for AMC to take on. That's a process. Now all the district meetings are going through all those priorities, and then they're weighing in on what are the 5 priorities coming out of the district. In District 10, their top 5 priorities was supporting an additional state investment across the housing spectrum, not limited, but really the whole continuum: workforce, affordable housing, senior housing, emergency and transitional housing. It's been a part of our platform for a while. Well-needed. Ramsey County really is in alignment with that.
I just want to interrupt and say it's been part of our platform because you've pushed it, and so I really wanted to say thank you for that for the many years, because it hasn't always been on the platform. So I just thank you for that.
Thank you. And these aren't in any particular order. They're just the top 5. AMC supports legislative action to provide comprehensive property tax relief through an increase in county program aid. Always there. I'm going to raise at the board meeting and through the policy, this is like our meat and potatoes. It's always there, and should it take up a spot of our top 5 priorities when we know we're going to do this no matter what? And maybe instead of always having it listed as a priority, just recognize there are a couple of things that, you know, our association's always going to work on. CPA and unfunded mandates, and they're just there, and they don't need to be a part of a policy process because it's not going to change. AMC supports developing Minnesota's mental health and development disability continuum of care. Again, another urgent need that Ramsey County has led on in many cases and always been there, but we're going to continue to work on that. We've had some success in the past, both on the capital side and on the investment for more supportive services within those communities. We'll continue to work at that. AMC supports major state investment in systems transformation and modernization, which must include appropriate county collaboration, oversight, and guidance to achieve the efficient service delivery in health and human services. Tony's worked in this area going back almost as long as she's been on the board to really establish a partnership with DHS in particular. It's been a tough road, but we continue to push in that area. AMC supports the community supervision funding model. There's been a lot of work in this area so that state fund allocations are transparent, needs-based, and equitable among county and state supervision providers. Counties need substantial increase in community supervision funding to achieve the model. And we've had a task force, a work group chaired by Jack Swanson to work on this. You're all familiar. We have 3 systems here. They're not funded equally. And even when there is a formula, there's really no connection to make sense about how that formula even came into play. There is some wording in some of the statutes that actually, would suggest the state is a 50% funding partner. They don't even come close in those areas, maybe 10 or 14% many times. So they're not fulfilling their actually statutory authority and funding and being a partner. So this is a lot of work, and the timing on this is right. It rose to a level now that we're going to try to do the best. We've got all 3 delivery systems pulling together, which we don't always have. Sometimes there's tension within those delivery systems, and so they've all been a part of this. And it was interesting, the Hennepin County Corrections, I can't remember, CJ. I can't remember but CJ, she was there, and she really spoke very well, but she told the story. She was a Minneapolis police officer, and she says, I was at the front door, right, bringing them in, and I was watching what was happening at our back door, and we were totally ineffective. If we're going to bring people in the front door, we've got to make sure we deal with them so that when they come out the back door, they're better off because of the interaction with us. And she made the change from the front door to the back door to help strengthen that, and she's been one of the leaders on this. So I think we got 5 solid. You can look through the list. There's 15 of them here. All of us probably, Nicole was there, Tony was there, Jen was there, everyone was there, gets the vote. We may not have all voted consistent. People are going, well, what should we do? Vote your conscience. This is the time to vote your conscience. What do you feel right about in this document? And the one thing nice about Matt and his policy team, whatever needs attention at the state legislature, they're going to adjust no matter where that aligns in the policy piece. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, thank you for that update. Commissioner McGuire.
Such a great update. Thank you so much. And just recognize all the great work that this board is doing on our state association at AMC and at the National Association. But we really are leading in so many areas, and to bring that forward to the state, I mean, it wasn't on the agenda always. Housing was not always on the agenda. Whole community corrections, it's always been a priority for us, but it hasn't been for everyone. I mean, mental health, I mean, I think the participation of this board in these associations has really brought it to the top for our state legislators and for our federal policymakers. So just thank you for all your work, everyone. For all of us who are continue to be so involved and are present at these meetings that bring these issues to the front. I'm with you on having just a couple of top issues. I've been arguing for that for a while, that we should have CPA. We shouldn't have to vote on that. That should just be there. So I'm with you on that. And whatever in my leadership, I'm going to push for that as well. So, anything that, I think we have some of the best ideas from this board. We just keep bringing them forward. So thank you for that. And you're right, amicus briefs, I'm so happy we had a special session on that. We do struggle with that as a board. How much do we really help out on those issues, because we get asked a lot. The greater influence that AMC has in policymaking, as we have become just big influences there, the more people want us to write amicus briefs for them too. So it comes with a mixed bag. The more influential you are, the more they ask for you. Anyway, it was great. That was great to have those issues brought forward. Just a couple of other things that were going on. The St. Paul Children's Collaborative met. I know Commissioner Carter and I were at this meeting. We heard from December Brakefield, who did a presentation on family coaching. So thanks to December, she's becoming a regular at our Children's Collaborative meetings, because she's doing so much. Ramsey County is doing so much great work in this area. And we just appreciate the work of the entire team. But it was great to have December there presenting on that. Just a couple of things that are upcoming. The Environmental Service Center's open houses continue on. Tonight is going to be another virtual open house. And I think there'll be one more, there'll be an in-person one next Monday. So this tonight is a virtual, then Monday the 24th will be one in-person at New Life Presbyterian Church in Roseville. So that's actually really close to where the center is going to be. But that will be in person 5 to 7. So those open houses are, as we have said before, really informative and interesting, and I know that the public is weighing in on that. So what I really appreciate is that these open houses are happening before the whole thing is planned. We were going to the public and saying, here's a concept, what do you think? And so in other years, we would present them with the whole plan and say, what do you think of it? Now we're asking them to help us with the plan. So it's all great. I just want to say Ramsey County League of Local Governments had a great meeting on Friday responding to the homelessness crisis. And we heard from 2 cities, Roseville and Maplewood, on how they deal with homelessness. And we had a great participation from our board. Commissioner Mattis-Castillo and Jenna Rourke was there, our government relations director, Melissa Finnegan. We were all very participative in this meeting, talking about homelessness and our reaction. And lots of kudos to Ramsey County for the partnership that we have in this area. They were very grateful for all the work that we're doing to work with them on that issue. But it's definitely something that all of the cities are dealing with in a much greater way. But that was good. So speaking of Ramsey County League of Local Governments, we do have a collective action team. And, we pick a theme that we want to continue on with, where we really bring everyone together. And it's been mental health has been the theme. And I think we're going to continue with that theme, just because it's so permeates everything that we do. So, but if you have any other suggestions, I sit on that collective action team, and I think we're just thinking that it's so prevalent in many areas that we work in. We'll keep it as a top theme. And with that, just see what else is going on. We have an early childhood and education meeting on Friday. Commissioner Fretham and I sit on that, so that will be a great meeting this Friday. That's on Zoom. And just a little shout out to New Brighton Fire Department's having their open house on Saturday. So thank you.
Thank you,
Madam
Commissioner
Chair.
McGuire. Commissioner Ortega.
No report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Fretham.
Yeah, I got to attend the Environmental Service Center open house last week in Roseville. Reinhardt there, I think, was sort of tag team with overlapping meetings, so that was great, and I encourage folks to get out there and check it out. The Law Library finally got a chance to honor its acquisition of a portrait of Judge Maxwell, who was the first Black judge in Ramsey County, and there was also an excellent panel discussion about trailblazers and Judge Maxwell's life and legacy, so got to attend that. It was all parties this week. The Family Child Care Provider Celebration, got to see Commissioner Mattis-Castillo there, and was honored to get to thank all of our family child care providers who are being honored that night. If you haven't heard, there is a new art museum in Shoreview, the Castian Art Trust, and it has an extensive collection of Chihuly glasswork, which is just beautiful. And they were giving free guided tours last weekend, so I got to stop by that and take a look at the art and encourage everyone to get out there. And a great new Shoreview restaurant, Churchill Street, is right next door. You can make a whole weekend of it. And then some news for my office. This week we are saying goodbye to my amazing aide, Sheena Denny, who has passed the bar and taken a tax attorney job at Grant Thornton. We're so excited for her. And it's very bittersweet, but we are excited to welcome Amy Waslowick as my new principal aide, and she's here today. They're overlapping for 4 days. Yay. So welcome, Amy, to the team. And then on a personal note, if anyone is looking to add a new member to their family, I have 5 puppies in my basement yet without applications. I don't know, maybe people retiring, looking for something to do, maybe want a little friend to snuggle. They're all available through the Rescue Network.
Maybe.
Call me Jim. Anyone else, search for the Subaru puppies on the Rescue Network. That's it for me.
Thanks. I want to get more information on the art museum in Shoreview.
Yes.
That sounds
Hope you were gonna say
wonderful.
the puppies.
No, not puppies. Yes, last week was incredibly busy and just kind of crazy as far as the number of events, but they were all so great. And I'm just putting them out not in the order that they appeared or that they took place. There's a CSM, it's a Climate Resiliency Group, which is a partnership between Germany and Minnesota, specifically White Bear Lake and other communities within Minnesota, and they had a get-together, and it's always interesting when you talk about international environmental issues and what's happening. You get so many great ideas and moving things forward. I had the opportunity, and I think probably the other, all across Ramsey County, you're experiencing this, but the White Bear Chamber had another grand opening of the adorned homes. It's right on County Road 96 and Highway 61. And it was fun to be there for the grand opening and ribbon cutting. But there's so many that are happening right now, and it shows the economy, I think, coming back. But really creative and innovative things that are taking place across our county as far as the economic development. I had talked about the fact that I was going to be a panelist for a FEMA-sponsored Alliance for Inclusive Resilience, and I did participate in that, and I want to thank staff who really helped me, Elizabeth and Ryan and others. I know there were a number of people trying to pull the information together. It was interesting because normally you have a presentation that you make and then you get questions, and that's not what this was. It was a conversation about resilience, and so it was very open-ended, and so I needed a lot of information in a condensed place so that I could speak to it. But once it's a different format, but once I got started, then it was a great conversation with everyone, and people are really looking to Ramsey County as a leader and talking about. It was talking about the trade-offs, because we have to make decisions and from an environmental perspective on what to do for climate resilience, equitable climate resilience, but the cost that's associated with that and how do you balance things. And we know that in every decision we make, we have to do that. So it was a really good conversation. I did attend the Environmental Service Center open house or presentation at Roseville. I was at the virtual one. Again, there's one tonight and then another in person on Monday. And I'm hoping to make it to all of them because you're getting really good ideas from people and comments and questions. But generally, there's really a lot of excitement about having this centrally located and something that is going to be really helpful into the future. So, and just gathering input. I'm also part of the County Road E Corridor Action Plan. There's two things that are happening. One is at a policy level, and the other is at a policy level that is community engagement. And there have been 4 workshops on the County Road E Corridor with Vadnais Heights and the City of White Bear Lake, Gem Lake, all of the folks that are involved with it, and trying to come up with an action plan on how they can work together to have it be the placemaking where you actually want to come there, and it's not just drive through, which, I mean, there's a lot of businesses and stuff along County Road E where people are going, but at the same time, making it a place as a destination and trying to work through that. They have one more meeting that is the community-based one, and that is on 10/26 from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Vadnais Heights Fire Station. And so that is, if you go, you'll find that it's really exciting. And they also talked about all of the things that we've done as a county in other areas, the 4-to-3 conversion and different things, and so are very aware of the county role in all of this. And I was very clear about the fact that we are willing partners, and we need to sit down and really talk through what can we do, because there doesn't, I mean, when we talk about All Abilities Transportation Network, County Road E isn't the model for that. We need to do more to make it more friendly for all abilities. I also am part of, as a NACO representative, to the National Association of Conservation Districts Climate Action Task Force, and they met and are really very progressive in trying to move forward with especially agriculture-related conservation measures, environmental measures, and really appreciate, again, the work that we're doing in Ramsey County and with NACO, recognizing the leadership there. Finally, and this isn't everything that happened last week, I missed the child care provider celebration. It's one of my favorite things, and I was spent. So, and I thank Commissioner Matas Castillo and others for giving my greetings there. But finally, I participated in is probably a better way, the Northeast MICA Affordable Housing Virtual Tour. And I just wanted to put a little plug in for the fact that the MICA St. Paul is having its virtual tour on the 20th from 8 to 9:30 a.m. It's really interesting hopping on the bus, and they had to put the bus in reverse, which was kind of interesting too. But anyhow, but you see all of the opportunities and the challenges, and what progress is being made, and where there's a lot of frustration, as we all know, when it comes to affordable housing. So that is it for me. A busy week.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt. I just wanted to give a couple short updates. One is the Heading Home Ramsey and Continuum of Care and the work that's happening there. You may have seen in the news there was a lawsuit to prevent Listening House from moving forward. That lawsuit was rejected, which is a good news, so that the city can transfer money to make that a day space possible. It did delay some of the development, but it is still expected to open for day space for people experiencing unsheltered homelessness in February. But I think it's really a testament to the work of the coalition and Heading Home Ramsey coming together to work to really wrap ourselves around providers and services for our community. I also wanted to share that we had received $6 million of funds from the governor's office, and those funds have now been awarded and dispersed. And one of the things that the funds have been able to do is allow us to change our cold weather protocols. And it's been very cold in the morning as I'm walking the dogs, and I keep thinking about, even though it's 30 degrees, it feels really cold, and at what temperature people really start having injury and risk to their life. And we're able to move from our -5 degrees, which was our previous trigger for opening extended shelter space, to 0 degrees. And if we think about that, it's only 5 degree different, but it is really tied to dollars and our ability to staff and operate additional shelter. But it will probably keep us open about an extra 11 to 15 days a year just by changing that 5-degree difference, which is a huge move, and we're able to do that because of the additional funding. In addition, Catholic Charities is extending their daily operations to go later in the evening during our cold weather months. So in partnership, we're going to have expanded services when it comes to cold weather, but I think it's really important for folks to understand it's tied to dollars, which leads us into the conversation. Deputy Mayor Tincher and I, along with our government relations team, met with DHS on Friday and the deputy commissioner there to talk about our asks moving forward. And we made it really clear that we're coming back to the legislature with a large ask of $14.5 million each year to fund the whole continuum and the work that we know worked. During the pandemic, we created a model that was effective and efficient and is data-driven, and we want to make sure that we're going, and we asked them to include us in their proposal to the governor's office, and that we were moving forward with that ask. But it was a really good conversation. It was nice to be in a space where everyone on the call had worked in homelessness and shelter and housing and really felt the need. So I think they heard us loud and clear, but wanted to share that as well. Two other quick things. Tomorrow is the Gold Line groundbreaking at 10 o'clock. So Commissioner Ortega and Commissioner McDonough and I will be attending the Gold Line groundbreaking. And then last but not least, but additional plug, we are 21 days until Election Day. Our elections team, volunteers are all working really hard to make sure people have access to get their ballots in, that they can vote, and we want people to get out. So you have now until November 8th to cast your ballot, and we want folks to get out and do that. With that, we are going to move to adjournment. We will be following this meeting. We'll take a quick 5-minute break and then go right into our workshop on our legislative platform ideas. At 12 o'clock, we'll have a lunch with the Vera Institute. And then this afternoon at 1:30, we will have a mobile county board workshop. We're actually going to take a walking tour of Metro Square and see those spaces. With that, we are adjourned.